Did you know you can build a Bop-it out of Spike Prime? You can. I did it. It only cost me 2 days of my life. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm going to show you how I built it. I'm going to show you how I coded it. And I'm even going to give you the code if you want it. Yeah, make your own. Bop it. It's fun.
Pull it. Bop it. Spin it.
But I actually sat down with the texture and paper and tried to work out what on earth I could do with the Spike Prime set to sort of emulate what a Bopit does. I wrote what I thought each sensor or motor could do and how it could relate to the original Bopit. I did contemplate using different words from the original Bopit sounds, but in the end I ended up using the same words like twist it and pull it and bop it because it sounds more authentic. And then the building process began. Let's start by making some of the simple components. So we're going to make a turn it or rotate it. I think it'd be good to have a big wheel on there so you get the fingers right around it. So the first thing I'm making for my Bopit is a turn it. And I reckon just something like that will do. Have that sticking out somewhere and people turn it. And whenever they turn it, it'll change the number of degrees, and hopefully I can code it so that it recognizes when the number of degrees have changed. Okay. Then we're going to have one that was like a rotate it. So I reckon it could be the same sort of thing, but maybe not a wheel. Maybe we'll have like big black beams. Yeah, big ones would be good. I think the bigger the components, the more people can grip them. And then another one across the top. Put one more here. This one can be twisted. Twisted. We're going to have the Bopit in the middle, aren't we? This could be a challenging one. So we're going to use this to bop it. What can we have on top of that? Yeah, maybe a small wheel. So we'll just put a simple axle in there. We don't want it sticking out too far because then it will hurt to bop it. So we'll go for a little axle. 2 wheels. 1, 2. Go on top. And then a normal one there. No, need another yellow one, I reckon. What about this one? What about a cog? Oh yeah, now we're talking. Now we're cooking with gas. Yeah, that looks good. Boom, boom, boom. Nice. So that's the Bopit. So we're going to use one of these rubber bands. Oh, these are pretty cute. I'm going to use one of those. You could use any rubber band really. I think that's a good size for what I'm going to do. So we're going to do something that when you pull it, it shows the colour sensor a different colour, and when you let it go, it's going to spring back with the rubber band. So when it sees the colour red, maybe, it's going to register that you pulled it, and then when you let go, it'll go back to maybe green or something. Okay, so we need some sort of slider. I can just tap 2 greens and 2 magentas. And we could have an axle through there. We might have more magentas. And we'll make it, when it sees green, it'll work. We don't need those spare parts. So far we've got the pull it, we've also got the twist it, we've got the bop it, and we've got the spin it. Now we've just got to make the flick it. Okay, we're going to go for one that you flick, and it's going to sort of, if you flick it that way or flick it that way, it's going to press the button. Start by making something. Don't even know what I'm making yet. Just make something. Because we already had some code for the button, for the Bopit button, I just changed the port to port D and recorded the sound to see if my new flicker will work. And then I just added a couple of extra pieces like a biscuit to make it easier to flick. But as you can see later on, I added some even more, made it a big black piece on there to make it easy to flick. So I've got my spin it, I've got my flick it, I've got my bop it, I've got my pull it, and I've got my twist it. Now the challenge is to put them all together. So programming a bop-it's going to be pretty damn complicated, especially for the spin-its and twist-its. But we'll get into that later. We need to use things called variables. Now, a variable is a number that will change. And what we want to do is assign a number to each of the actions that we're going to use during the bop-it game. So spin it, flick it, twist it, bop it, flick it, all those words are going to have numbers associated to them, and the numbers can then be chosen randomly. We're going to call each action a target because the code is going to call out a target we need to aim for, either to flick it or spin it, or whatever. So we're going to call them targets. And we can make it call out a random target by using some of these operators on the side here. But we won't do that yet. Let's make a sound at the start. Let's make it say bop-it to start. So go sound and you record a sound here. I think we can just go start sound because then it will do other things afterwards without having to complete the sound. So let's go record and we'll say something like bop-it to start. And then we'll edit that and we'll make it go a bit faster. And then we'll name it up here, bop-it to start. Okay, now we can choose it from here. And at the very start, it's going to say bop-it to start. And nothing's going to happen until the button is pressed. So let's change, let's say wait until the button is pressed. Go to sensors, choose the force sensor, and I'm going to plug the button into B because I always plug the force sensor into B because button starts with B. Wait until button is pressed and then repeat something a few times. The first stage of our bop-it will have about 8 levels where it's fairly easy. So let's go repeat 8 times. And then in there, we're going to say set target to a random number. Let's grab our variables and we'll say set target by going into operators and choosing the top block that says pick a random number, and we're going to make it 1 to 5 because there are 5 different sections of our bop-it, aren't there? There's flick it, spin it, twist it, pull it, and bop it. So there's 5 things we're going to choose from, and then we're going to have a few if statements here. So we're going to say if the target equals 1, so we're going to use these operators here, and inside this little circle here we can grab the variable target and say if it equals 1 then do this, and we're going to have to play a sound effect and it's going to say spin it. So let's record that sound. So let's go record and we're going to say spin it, and then we're going to edit that and we're going to go faster and then save. Okay, I'll just stop the video now while I record all the sounds. So if the target equals 1, we're going to play the sound spin it. And then we can duplicate that, and we might duplicate that a few more times. And we'll change that to a 2, we'll change that to a 3, change that to 4, and we'll change it to a 5. And we'll choose twist it, and we'll choose bop it, and we'll choose pull it, and we'll choose, last one, I didn't change the name of it. Let's edit our sounds, and this one says
Flick it.
Flick it. Flick it. Save. Okay, so we've got all our sounds down here. And now we can change, that says flick it. Cool. And we can just pop it down here, inside here. So it's going to repeat that 8 times. I think we've got to get it to wait a few seconds before it says something. Otherwise it's just going to say them really quickly. So let's put in wait 2 seconds between each one. Okay, what happens when we press play?
Bop-it to start. Twist it. Pull it. Pull it. Twist it. Flick it. Twist it. Pull it.
Okay, it's happening pretty fast, so we might make that 3 seconds and stop it down here. So it's going to announce which one we're going to use for 8 different turns. Okay, but then we might want it to get a bit faster and faster and faster. So we could do this later, but I think what we could do now is just go duplicate all that and repeat this time. We might do this one 12 times, but we might only go for 2-second breaks. Okay, so the first 8 turns it's going to say that, and then the next 8 turns it's going to say, the next 12 turns it's going to say that, but they're going to be faster. And then we could duplicate that and then go, let's go crazy at the end. We'll go 1-second breaks. Well, maybe 1.5. Let's try 1.5. We'll do that 12 times. And then we'll go, whoa, this is crazy. We'll go 1-second breaks. 1 second between random things. So I'm pretty sure that'll work, but we can test it later. Okay, so that's just going to get it to say random things and set the target at certain things. So let's build a little stack. I reckon we're going to build a stack for each function of our Bopit. So we'll have 5 separate stacks. 1 for the Bopit, and 1 for the pull it, and 1 for the twist it, etc. So let's choose a block from events that says when. And we're going to say, let's just do the Bopit to start with. I think what we need to do is have a bit of a switch that we turn on and a switch that we can turn off, so that when it's turned on, you can hit something and it will register it. But if it's turned off, then when you hit something, it's not going to do anything. If you know what I mean. So let's make a variable, and we're going to call it wait. So we're going to wait until the turn is over, basically. And it's just going to be an on-off switch. So let me explain it by saying this. We're going to put an operator in here, and we're going to put and in there. The cool thing about operators is you can put operators inside operators. Let's put an and in there anyway. When the target equals 3, so we're going to use equal sign, so we're going to use this one. Whenever you're going to use equals, you use this block here. And we're going to put a target in there. When the target equals 3, and weight equals 0, let's say 0. So the target equals 3 and the weight equals 0. And the button is pressed, which is plugged into port B. Make sure you get the right button. So this is a Bop-it button. So we'll go B for pressed. Yep. Then we're going to say, immediately we're going to set the weight to 1. So we'll set weight to 1. That means that if the button gets pressed a couple of times, it's not going to do anything. Okay, because it won't do anything unless the weight's 0. So now the weight is 1. We can continue. We're going to get some sound effects. Okay, so let's go into our library and we'll grab some sound effects because we want it to make a different sound when you actually bop it. There's some pretty cool sound effects in the library. So let's add a sound and we're going to choose this one and we're going to add a sound. Now there's lots of sounds in here. I found there's some pretty cool ones. There's one called bonk. You just click on it and then go back to the library. There's one called chirp. That's a cool one. And then what about laser? You can search up here for ones too. So I like the short sounds. Short sounds are better because you don't want it to play too long because the next sound will come up if you take too long. And I like teleport. That's a good one. I like that one for flick it. Okay, so we got bonk, chirp, laser, teleport. There we go. Yeah, I like that one. That's like a cartoon head shake, isn't it? All right, so we've got our sounds here. Now back here, we can choose when it hits Bopit. It was going to be bonk, I think. Is that right? That's how it sounds. Have a look. Bonk. Yeah, that's it. Bonk. And then after it plays the sound, we're just going to get it to wait for a second. And then we're going to set the variable of weight to 0. And we're actually going to count the levels. Every time that it's pressed, it's going to go up a level if all this happens. So we need to make a variable called levels. And what that means is that we can count how many levels we pass successfully. Okay, so let's set the level to, actually we'll change the level by 1, which will add 1 to the level score. Okay, now it's pretty tricky, but basically it's saying when the target is 3, in other words, when the random 3 comes up and the weight value is 0, then, and you press the button, then it's going to play that sound and add 1 to the level. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? All right. Now, let's duplicate that. And instead of, we'll do the easier ones first. So we'll do the pull it next. Pull it is 5. I think pull it is 5 actually. Let's go pull it, flick it, and then pull it. When pull it's announced, and we're going to use the color sensor for pull it. So we're going to say when the color sensor is green and the target's 5, change this to that one. Cool. When it sees green and the target's 5, it's going to play this sound. And then it's going to add 1 to the level. Okay, let's duplicate that. And we're going to say when the target is 4, and get rid of that. The other button is pressed because that's our flick it option. Then flick it is going to play the sound of head shake. Remember, that was a cool one. Okay. Now they're pretty straightforward because they just involve buttons and color sensors. But the spin it and twist it's a fairly bit more complicated because we need to be able to spin the wheel either way or twist it either way. And we're going to use what's called the relative position of the wheels. We're going to have to make a couple more variables. For spin it, we need to work out how many degrees it is at the start and then how many degrees it is after we've turned it. And we've got to say if this is different to this, then activate the sound and go one up in the levels. So you've got to work out where it is to start with and whether or not it changes. So let's just duplicate this one. But let's do spin it first. So we're going to say when the target equals 1 and weight equals 0. But in here, we're just going to get rid of that. We might as well just put this hexagon in there. Now, we might use some of that later, but we're going to have to make a new variable because I want it to be able to see how many degrees it's turned at the start and how many degrees it turns afterwards. So we need to make two new variables. We're going to call one spin count and we're going to call the other one start count. We're going to call the other one start count. And the spin count and the start count are going to be often the same. They should be the same before it moves, but then after it moves, the spin count is going to be different to the start count. It'll make more sense in a minute. So when the target is 1 and the weight is 0, we're going to set the spin count to 0 and we're going to set the start count to 0. We might just do them any other way, so they're kind of in order. This is what it's going to start at and this is how many it's going to turn. We're going to make them both 0. Both of them are 0 at the start. It's just like resetting it every time. Duplicate this. And this is where we're going to put in the relative position of the motor that's turning the wheel. So we've got the wheel turning here. This one's twist it and this one's spin it. Okay, so let's just start with spin it. And at the moment you can see it's on 44 degrees and the other one's on this. And you can turn the wheels and they can change. But what we need to say is when it does change, we want it to activate the sound effect and add one to the level. If we can work out what that is whenever we want it to be, then we can work out when it changes whenever we want it to be. And that's basically called the relative position. And there's a block you might not be aware of, but you can use it. It's not in here with these motors. The relative position, you have to go to the menu here and choose these extension activities. These show block extensions down here. And grab the one that says more motors. And when you close that now on your menu, you've got more motors over here. So we can choose relative position there and say set start count to relative position. In other words, set that value at whatever it is up here. And we're going to do the same for the other one, spin count, because they're both going to be the same if it's just sitting there. But if if we start to move it, we're going to increase the spin count and say if this increases, if this ends up different to this, then we're going to make the sound effect and add one to the level. Well, inside here we're going to say if let's duplicate this. If the start count is greater than the spin count, or if the spin count is greater than the start count, then we're going to do something. Because if one's greater than the other, that means they're not equal. And if they're not equal, that means it's moved. We'll put an OR in there. And we'll say if one is greater than one, duplicate that, or one is greater than the other. So we can say, let's go to our variables. Spin count is greater than start count, or start count is greater than spin count. Then we're going to do something. Often it's good to put a little weight in there, because if you don't wait, sometimes it just does too many things at once. So we're going to wait for half a second. We're going to make the match. Okay, so if they don't match, the first thing we're going to do is make them match again. So we're going to go set spin count to the relative position. Okay, that'll make them equal again. Now you can see your variables over here on the side. If one comes up in the random number over here, then we need, and weight equals 0, actually we need to put another weight in there. So we're going to set weight to 1. Okay, then it's going to make them equal. Let's go sound, and we're going to make it go chirp. It's going to wait a couple more seconds. And then it's going to set weight back to 0. And it's going to change the level by 1. Inside a forever loop. So I need to put this inside a forever loop. So I forgot to change these to Fs, because the spin it for me is plugged into port F. I need to add in a special block here which makes the spin count the relative position, because otherwise it's not going to change. So we need to choose set spin count. So we'll go to variables and we'll choose this one. I'll put that in there and go set spin count to relative position. Make sure it's mode F. Okay. I found that sometimes the wheels were turning just a little bit and it was registering as a change in degrees. So I decided that I could change the code so that the user would have to turn it at least a quarter of a turn, or 60 degrees at least, to make it count. And I'll show you how I did that with the code. Instead of just saying if one was greater than the other or the other was greater than the other, we are going to get rid of this one, and we might put a -1 in there as well. Let's have a look. Negative, take away, here we go, plus 80. Or if the spin count is, I'll go less than. -80. So in here, we're going to, it's got to turn at least 80 degrees to register now. So it's either got to go positive more than 80 degrees or negative less than 80 degrees. And hopefully that'll stop it from just making a chirp by itself. Let's duplicate this and we'll move over to there so that we can change this for twisted. When the target is 2, it's going to say twisted. So we're going to make this target to be 2, but we're going to need some other variables. Laser. So we've changed all these relative positions to E because it's motor E for twisted. But I want to change all these variables and give motor E all its own variables. So let's go to variables and we shall make a new variable called spin count and we'll just call it twist. So it knows the difference. And we'll make another one called start count. Twist. So all I need to do is change. All I need to do is change the variables here, and it should work. So instead of start count, we're going to go to start count twist. Instead of spin count, we're going to go to spin count twist, and so forth. Change these ones first. And then we need to change these ones as well. So spin count becomes spin count twist. And start count becomes start count twist. I reckon that should work. Let's just edit this laser. Let's just have a look at this laser sound. Edit sounds. Laser. Edit. Yeah, got this little bit at the start, which is messing with me. And a little bit at the end, probably. That's better. Save that. Save that. This part here, I forgot to change that. That needs to be changed to a 2. Alright, it's a good idea to label these as well. So we can add a comment and call this one Bopit. So we know which one it is. Bopit. Bopit. And you can just know what it's called then. This one is pull it. Pretty cool. So let's make the music happen. Yeah. When, put it over here. When the level equals 0, so we're going to have an equal sign in there. So when the level equals 0 and put an and in there. So when the level equals 0 and the button is pressed, as in Bopit, the B button, then we'll play some drum music. Maybe play it until done. So it just keeps playing it, even if there's other sounds. We're going to go to add sound and we're going to choose drum. And choose that one. We wanted to get faster at some stage. So I might call that drum music 2. And then go back to the library and get drum. And yep, get drum music. So we've got 2 versions of it here. We might make this one go faster. both too loud. So we'll make them softer. Yeah. Save. Softer. So drum music slow and drum music 2 is faster. So we'll save that. And at the start, we'll just play drum music, nice and slow. We might play this one twice. Let's go control, repeat 2 times. We're going to repeat the fast one. It's going to play it quicker, so I might repeat that maybe 6 times. And drum music 2. So when you press Bop-it at the start, when the level is 0, it's going to play the sound faster. What I think we need to do is over here, we might set the level, at the start to -1, and then after you bop it to 0. After you bop it, we're going to set the level to 0. We haven't really got anything to indicate if an error is made, it's game over. So let's make that now. We might put a timer in here, because I think the best way to have an error is if you run out of time somehow. So in sensors, you can reset the timer at the start if you want to. Put that there. It's sort of like an invisible timer that counts. Whenever you press the right thing, it will reset the timer. But then if the timer gets past a certain level, we could have it finish the game. Let's say when the timer is greater than 5. So we're going to use a greater than sign, so we're going to use this operator. Put a 5 in there. Put the timer from down here. In the sensors, there's a little pill there. When the timer is greater than 5, then what we're going to do is we're going to stop all the sounds, and we're going to play it. We're going to make a new sound. We're going to add a sound. Record. That's a shame. And then we're going to go, that's a shame. And then we're going to go stop and exit program. So every time we attempt to do something, we're going to reset the timer. So here, for Bop-it, we're going to reset it. And for pull it, we'll reset it. And then for flick it, we'll reset it. Spin it, we'll reset it. And twist it, we'll reset it at the start every time. So if it takes more than 5 seconds, it should have an error. I guess the thing we need to do now is have some sort of scoring happening. So we've got the levels counting, but we can't really see the levels counting. If you go down here, down to the bottom extensions down here, there's one called display. This can display things on your computer or on your tablet. And we can get it to display the score. So we don't want it to display -1 at the start. So we could say when the level equals 0, so we've got an equal sign. So we're going to put level equals 0. Then we're going to display, we're going to write the level. Okay. But it will only do that once, so it'll only do it at the start. If we want it to keep doing it, we could say we'll wait 0.2 of a second, and do it forever. And then as an added bonus, if you want to do full screen, there's an option to go full screen by itself. Show display in full screen. We could just put that maybe here. Okay, let's try that.
Bop-it to start. Bop-it. Pull it. Flick it. Twist it. Spin it.
That's a shame.
Bop-it to start. Spin it. Flick it. Bop-it. Flick it. Bop-it. Bop-it. Spin it. Twist it. Spin it. Pull it. Spin it. Twist it. Flick it. Flick it. Flick it. Spin it. Flick it. Pull it. Flick it. Flick it. Flick it. Flick it. Pull it. Bop it. Spin it. Spin it. Flick it. Twist it. Bop it.
Oh no.
Spin it. Flick it. Twist it.
Cool.